Hey guys, it's me Dex coming to you live and direct from the Beverly Hills Hilton, where I'm just enjoying the last couple of days of my family vacation before heading back to the UK. Just wanted to take a couple of minutes to answer a quick Q&A question from Shad Drury. Looking down because my notebook's down here, and Shad was asking, let's have a look, what's the best way to get onto magazines and into TV and all that kind of stuff. He actually asked it in a much better way. He said, how do you get your ugly mug on there? Thanks, Shad, that's really nice of you. How do you get on there? I've been really fortunate over the course of my career. I've done a fair bit of TV, not tons and tons, but a fair bit. I've been pretty much in every UK magazine, Washington Post, New York Times, kind of lots and lots of the top magazines around the world, like Vogue and Grazia and all that kind of stuff. And been on tons and tons of different radio shows and all that kind of stuff, right? So been really fortunate, and if I'm really honest, the best ways that I found to get myself onto those shows, into those publications, and get the kind of coverage that I always kind of dreamed of getting was really quite simple. First off, show up in the world with something a bit different to say, and there are already thousands and thousands of people out there kind of saying the same kind of stuff. So what's your difference? What's your kind of point of difference that hardly anyone else is talking about? Find out what that is first. Okay, so even as a personal trainer, my points of difference were related not so much to the training programs being the be all and end all, but kind of I started to move into the hormone side of things when no one else was talking about it. When I was working on rehabilitation, I was talking about neurology when no one else was talking about it. When I'm talking about kind of the behavioral sciences and all that kind of stuff, rather than just setting goals and stuff, I started talking about transformational coaching from the perspective of assessing and dealing with threat when no one else was talking about it. Okay, so find that thing that no one else is talking about, and there isn't too much work for you to, as in you're not forcing yourself. It's not too much work for you to come up with a concept, for you to come up with the idea, and actually put that message out to the world. What do you do to deliver it? Well, there are lots of different ways. I started by effectively cold calling the editors. A lot of people say go for the features editors, right? I believe in starting from the top down. Here's what happens when you start from the top down. When you try and pitch something to the actual editor of a publication, if it sounds even moderately interesting, they pass it down to someone more junior than them and say, hey, this guy sounds interesting, go take a look. And that's received by the junior as a kind of almost like an order from their superior, right? Versus trying to go for the smaller fish and trying to work your way up, right? Because let's say I do find a journalist who likes my stuff. That journalist then has to tell the features editor, so they have to persuade them, and then the features editor has to go and speak to the publication editor, and all this kind of stuff occurs, right? It's not the best way to go about it. I believe that if you start from the top down, you're in a much better position. If you've got some money, pay a little bit of cash for a PR agency to work with you temporarily, and that's one of the things that I did. Not in my early stages, I'd already been in the press quite a lot by then, but kind of later on I paid money for a PR agency to get me the introductions, really, and that's really beneficial. But ultimately what you're looking for is a means of telling your individual story, making it really benefit rich. Make sure that you understand the publication that you're speaking to. Don't have one pitch for every publication. Like, really do your homework. Like if I'm doing something for Men's Health, I know that the Men's Health readers are 28 to 45-year-old males who are kind of quite body conscious and all this kind of stuff. So I pitch my articles and my concepts based upon that readership. If I'm talking to someone from Grazia, they tend to be female, right? So kind of Grazia magazine, I need to pitch my storyline for how it impacts upon females. Don't just hit your target market, or don't just hit kind of a publication with hit 20 publications with exactly the same storyline. It's not going to work. Here's another thing as well to bear in mind. Most magazines, for example, they already know what they're writing 3 months ahead. They lay out their flat pack plans 3 months in advance. And so, if you want to do something for how to keep in great shape over the winter, for example, right? Then you need to be submitting that in the fall. You can't wait until a couple of weeks before the publication comes out. Pretty much all of the space has already been taken up. If you want something to go in for kind of the New Year's resolution crowd, you need to be kind of submitting that around September, October. in order for it to get in the January publications. So don't leave it too late. Newspapers are a bit different because newspapers represent the news, but magazines are very, very different. So think about that. Think about, if you're thinking about TV shows and thinking about radio, really you want to be looking at what's timely, like tie in, piggyback with something that is actually occurring in the news right now, but with your own unique slant on that. So kind of, how does what you do tie in with a storyline that's coming up in the news this second? Okay, so there's a couple of different perspectives to look at. Look at the news, see what's going on in the news, and say, okay, how does what I do tie into some of these current news stories? On top of that, look ahead, like, so what's seasonal, what are some of the January things, what are some of the February things, and so on and so forth. If you want to do if you're a relationship coach, for example, and you want to do something on Valentine's Day, then you need to be submitting to magazines at least in October, November. Okay, so think ahead. You know, again, if you've got the ability, do get an introduction via a PR agency. They do make a big difference. It costs you a bit of money, but what money does is it saves you years and years of your time trying, you know, back and forward with publications. That said, don't let the idea that you need a PR agency do that kind of hold you up from putting your message out to the world. I got lots and lots of press, I got lots of publication space long before I ever paid anyone to get me it. Okay, so this has been me, Dax, Beverly Hills Hilton, looking nice and red by the looks of it. Speak to you very, very soon. Take care.